the art, right? That's what matters. So that is also why when you look at those who heal with sound, they don't say a lot of things, right? It's about how they think and feel about what they put into the sound they create when they create it, because they do that intentionally. They know that if I have to create this thing for this purpose, I'm supposed to be in this state of being. I am not supposed to be in a place of sadness, because if I'm in a place of sadness, this is the energy I'm going to put to it, and this is what I'm going to send out to people to listen to. So that's why sometimes you listen to very beautiful music and you wonder why it's not affecting you positively. So you sing out your song as a gospel musician, people hear it, and people listen to your song and they're in the nightclub getting drunk on the song that is gospel. Have you not seen people play gospel music in the club? I've seen it. And they get drunk over it. Why? Because it only sounds Jesus. It doesn't act Jesus. You get? So as a creator, you must be in a place of wellness to be able to create something that people can consume and be well. And in turn, it also heals you. Now, I'm not saying that your state of sadness cannot inspire you. But then, if it inspires something, you must heal before you produce what you're producing. Go and sit there and cry. When you cry and finish, you smile now and produce it and tell the story. And the essence of that is to show people that you can move from bottom to top. You are sharing an experience. You cannot be sharing an experience that you don't have. You cannot. Personally, as a therapist, when somebody books a session, when I'm feeling down, I will refuse. Because it doesn't matter how many beautiful things I go and tell them, it will still affect them negatively, because I'm going to carry a certain level of negative energy and I go and contaminate them with it. So I have to, first of all, tell them to give me time to recover, and then I can meet them now. Because it's not about talking, right? I am supposed to be at a state where if I meet a client who is not well, if they perceive me, they should start healing without me doing anything for them. But if I carry frustration to them, when they perceive me, they are just going to get more sick. So as an artist, you must always find yourself in that state of mind, or that state of well-being, to be able to create properly. Right? And the problem is that we live in a system where it is not designed with lines, right? We don't move forward, we move in cycles. Everything is moving in cycles. So if you give somebody negative energy through your art, right? If you curse them instead of blessing them, what is going to happen is that it is going to affect you also, because they say that what goes around comes around, right? What you give is what you get. And there's also the concept of unity. I am not separate from you. So what I do to you, I am doing to myself. So that's one reason why many artists are very frustrated, because they keep frustrating the world. And you cannot frustrate them more than you are frustrating yourself. It doesn't matter how well poised or polished you when people see you. Right? So you keep frustrating them, you keep frustrating yourself. So you must be well before you create. And you need to understand that suffering is not the requirement for genius. You don't need to, as an artist, you don't need to suffer to prove that you're an artist. It's not by suffering and singing that you suffered, you don't make room seller before this and that. You're not supposed to be suffering because you're an artist. Right? It doesn't have to, it's not a measure for your life can be beautiful and you're still a beautiful artist. I know that we're always caught up in people that, it's like these young rappers now. All their songs are always coming from, I came from the street. I came from suffering. thinking that when they come from suffering, that's what is going to move people to, it's just something that happens. Every rapper will come from, even those who don't come from the streets now come from the streets. For example, you get it. So you don't have to be there to show that you have a beautiful story to tell. Be the person who is well, from wellness, and always be well. And you still have a beautiful story to tell, because people will come to you because their life is the ideal life. I don't want to be going to somebody simply because they were sick and then they are well. I would prefer to go to somebody who has always been well and ask them why they have always been well. Do you understand that? That's more important. So don't try to suffer to prove a point. Just be well, be okay. So art can be the antidote to despair, but the artist must not become the sacrifice, right? Art is supposed to heal people, right? But you don't have to sacrifice yourself to do that. You don't have to kill yourself because you have to do that. You have to, like I said before, be in a state of mental stability to be able to help other people. So don't sacrifice yourself because you want to help other people. So managing pressure, expectations, and public visibility. Artists face social media comparison, public scrutiny, pressure, and constantly produce and fear and constantly produce and fear of irrelevance. It means that there's always a lot of bullying of artists online, right? There's a lot of pressure. There's something that everybody wants to see from you all the time, right, as an artist. So that gives you too much pressure to handle as an artist, especially artists that are very, very young. But then there's one important question that you're supposed to ask yourself: who are you when the applause stops? Because when you present yourself out there as an artist, everybody's like, "Yay, this artist, music is good, she dresses well, she does this well." People are clapping for you, and that becomes some kind of energy that carries you every day, and you forget yourself. You forget where your energy is supposed to be coming from. You forget that you are the one who is supposed to be feeding them, not them feeding you. So you forget your source of energy and start feeding from them. It's like you give your child food, and then you go and you're fighting the food with your child, forgetting that you are the one who cooked the food and you have the pot and you have the right to the pot. You forget it, and then you go and start fighting them. So you see what that is. So do not forget that you are the source as an artist. You are the co-creator. Like Reverend Chris said, if God has given you the ability to create, means that you're a co-creator, which means that every time you create, the person that creates you is God. Means that you master and design everything that happens around you, especially your art. Right? So you have to ask yourself, who are you when the applause stops? When they stop clapping for you, who are you? Who are you when people don't call you artist? Can you answer that question? Who are you? Let me even go more extreme. Let me try not to call yourself artist. Just try to look at yourself as someone who creates art, not as an artist. Because the temptation is that when you start singing to yourself, I'm an artist, you forget who you really are. And the problem is because you do not understand what it means to be an artist. It means that you're a co-creator, right? You create things. So the question the area you need to focus on is what I control. To be able to manage all of that pressure, you ask yourself, what do I control? What can I control? The second thing is, what I influence. What do you influence? And the third thing is, what can I not control? Those are the questions that have to come to your head when you are facing all the pressures, especially from media. What you can control, what you influence, and what you cannot influence. And then you focus your energy on what you can control and influence. That's what matters. What can I control? Focus on those things. I can control what I create. Right? I can influence those that my energy is designed to influence. Right? If it's about views, how can you influence that? There are ways that you can influence. Maybe intellectually you can learn about it. But what can you not control? You forget about what you cannot control, because what you cannot control is there to kill you. But there's also a temptation of focusing on what you cannot control. And then you forget about those beautiful things you can act upon and start focusing on what you cannot do. Do you understand that? Focus on what you can control and what you can influence. And then you leave the rest. What you cannot control is not your business. Let whatever is happening to it happen to it. You cannot control, for example, the comment section. You cannot control it. The more you try to come and defend yourself, the more it escalates. A few years ago, I decided that I will not be commenting anything on social media. Whether people come and post whatever they are posting, it's not my business. If I can contribute to what you are posting positively, I contribute. If I cannot, I don't care. Because me going there to go and say that no, this posting that you have said is not, it doesn't change anything. So if you post, especially if I relate to you and I think that I can comment something that will support your comment, I'll comment. If not, I don't care whether this is going left or this is going right. The president has gone up, this one has gone down. It's not my problem. I cannot influence that. I cannot control that. So I will act on what I can control. Now, let me tell you a secret. There's a theory in art called reception theory. The theory says that meaning is made when you create a form of art. When you produce art, meaning is made from collaboration between you, the producer of the art, and the consumer. Which means that when you produce the art, you are not going to conclude on how people perceive the art. But how people perceive the art is only a collaboration, which means that you influence only 50% of how people perceive it. Which means if I sing a song, for example, somebody from Kenya will perceive it differently by somebody from somebody from Mancon. For example, a youth will perceive it differently from an adult. Some people listen to it and they are happy. Some people listen to it and they are angry. And that's why you always see fans defending this group of fans defending this artist, these ones are defending this one, because they perceive it differently. And to you, the artist is not supposed to be a problem if you understand this principle that what I produce, I can only influence what I produce, but not how people perceive it. But this is what you can also influence. You can influence how it affects them. Because I can say that I don't like their song, but it influences me positively.